Alrighty, everybody. How's it going? We're here again on Monday. We lied last week. Sorry, not a Sunday podcast again.
We lied right to your faces.
But it's okay. Alex had a going away party for a friend, and that's just perfectly fine because it is important to spend time with the people you care about, especially if they're moving.
That and my house still doesn't have power.
That also,
Omaha.
big storm rolled through Omaha not too long ago, and poor Alex has no power at his house. Forgive me, chat. This is the last bite of my dinner.
95-mile-an-hour winds in Omaha. Crazy. Tornadic winds. No tornado.
That's insane.
Luckily.
That's insane. All right.
Pretty wild.
All right. Now that
Pretty wild time. But you know what? Here we are.
Indeed, bro. And like the title of this podcast says, bro, things are getting weird, man. Combo's here. What's up, Combo? Things are getting weird.
Combo.
Let us start with everyone's most loved person to hate. Well, I don't want to say everyone because there are some people that actually like this person. But I honestly cannot stand this guy. Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A.
Worst.
The man of the coldest of takes. This dude, man. This dude.
You can start, Ben.
His hot takes are shit. Combo said it right there, man. They are because they're fucking freezing cold. I gotta pull up the damn thing on my phone. From what you sent me.
First of all, this man plays the race card more than maybe any sports commentator. Most definitely more than any sports commentator.
100%.
In the sports commentating world. Like, it's almost like Fox News or CNN level, like race cards.
Yeah, and it's like, just, it's just so painful. This dude, so Alex shared this with me today. So everybody knows Stephen A. He's African American sports commentator for ESPN, well known for his. Some would say hot takes. I would call them freezer level cold takes. This is the shit that he said today about and I cannot remember a dude's name for the life of me.
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani. Okay, so is he a pitcher for the Angels? Or is he just...
Let me set the stage for Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
He is one of the best to ever do it in the sense that since Babe Ruth, there hasn't been a pitcher/hitter in the MLB in recent memory. Like one that was a very gifted pitcher and a very gifted hitter. For those of you who don't subscribe to baseball, usually pitchers are dog shit hitters. That's why they have the designated hitter rule in the American League, because they want pitchers to focus on pitching, excuse me, and not hurt themselves, basically. Like the running joke is always like, when a pitcher makes a play, like feels his position, it's like, who says pitchers aren't athletes? You know, because typically they're known for throwing the ball hard, not great hitters. But Shohei Ohtani is hitting lead off in the All-Star game tonight, and he's also the starting pitcher. So not only does he hit and pitch very well, he's an all-star in both categories, which is like the most exciting thing that's happened to baseball in a long time. Because like I said, they were calling him the Japanese Babe Ruth before he finally came over.
Yeah, and I saw a video.
Everybody's like, yeah, he's doing it in the Japanese leagues, but when he comes over here, like, is he going to be able to translate that to like the major leagues, like the best players in the world? And not only did it translate, but doing very well. Yeah. really that.
Yeah. So yeah, he's basically one of the faces for baseball right now. Due to the fact that he has just been an absolute stud this season. So this is friggin' Stephen A's most just the great take out of this dude's fucking brain box that he decided he wanted to spout off today on fuck I don't know, probably on national television at some point. If not then it got out there anyway. And this is a quote from Stephen A saying, "I don't think it helps that the number one face is a dude that needs an interpreter so you can understand what he's even saying."
So to put this into context even further, the question, I believe it was on ESPN. He does a show with Max Kellerman. I can't remember the name of it right now. It's like Speak Up or some. I don't watch it because it's stupid.
It's dog shit.
They were asking him if they thought Ohtani being the face of baseball was good for the MLB, and he started talking about, what brought back baseball in the 90s, because baseball was dying in the 90s, and it was Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa in the home run race, which was true. Keep in mind that Sammy Sosa was from Cuba, I believe.
Cuba, the Dominican, or something like that.
Yeah, maybe the Dominican. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He wasn't a white guy. Mark McGwire was a white guy. And he's basically saying, he went on to say that it's good for baseball when you have like Mike Trout or Bryce Harper as like the face of the league, because they're white guys that the average baseball fan can identify with. So he's putting baseball in a racist category to begin with, basically saying that only white people are baseball fans, which is
not true.
Not true at all. In a border town where baseball was very, very popular, like Hispanic population, baseball is very popular. And then to go on to say that it's not good for the MLB because he needs an interpreter. It's like, motherfucker, what are you even saying? Like,
it
what
makes
are you
no sense.
About?
Like the amount of people that are in the MLB that still use an interpreter are crazy. It's great because there's guys that have come over from like the Dominican and other places like that, and even guys that have been in the league for a long time, like Big Papi. I could barely understand him half the time, and he'd been in like the U.S. forever. Well, but like the point of it is like it doesn't matter if the dude needs an interpreter or not. He's good at the game, so he's getting the recognition that he deserves for being good at the game. And the fact that Stephen A wants to pull, like Combo said here, that that he wants to pull the race card all the time on a lot of shit, and then comes around and makes this severely insensitive and highly and like racist comment essentially. It just shows how fucking tone deaf and just out of the loop he is about everything.
Well, and if he was a white commenter making that comment, he'd already be fired.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like if his counterpart Max Kellerman had said something along those lines, like, "Oh, it'd be better for baseball if Mike Trout or Bryce Harper or freaking Mike Moustakas or like any number of white baseball players," if he had said it'd be better if they were, then he would have been gone, like in a heartbeat. He would have cleaned his desk out after that show.
Yeah,
but Stephen A generates clicks and views with all of the bullshit that he spouts out day in and day out. So there's not going to be any repercussions for this.
No, it's so backhanded in like everybody talks about like reverse racism or whatever. Right.
Which is not even a thing. Racism is racism.
But it's just a blatantly racist statement.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Exactly. It's just such a blatantly racist statement that it's like, okay, he's not going to get any backlash over this because he plays the race card all the time and because he's an African-American individual. So, like, we give him this pass, because, oh, well, black people can't be racist. Right? Because reverse racism, whatever, it doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah. Like, No,
none of that
again,
is
he
true.
used to be on a show with Skip Bayless once upon a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't
He
know.
used to be on a show with Skip Bayless once upon a time, and I used to watch that because it was funny watching those two go back and forth. And like Skip Bayless was the one like giving out takes just for the reaction. They like you could tell he was almost like playing a role.
Yeah,
And not that I'm a Skip Bayless fan, but ever since, like, I don't know, I feel like it's been like the last 3 or 4 years for
it's
sure.
just getting
He's just
worse.
really ramped it up.
Yeah,
And like everything has to be about race all the time.
that's why
It's like, bro, it's fucking sports.
I'm so glad that I don't like have ESPN or anything like at my house to watch like when I'm home or anything, just because that dude infuriates me so much. But like literally every time he opens his mouth, like I just want to sit there and watch ESPN, get the lowdown on what's happening in the sports world, and not have you know him play the race card every 6 seconds about something. It's like it doesn't have to be like that all the time. Let's just focus on the sports and what's going on. Who cares that freaking Otani needs an interpreter? My man is from Japan. He
Well,
doesn't speak great English. Who cares?
and he's wrong because baseball fans are excited to watch
Yeah.
somebody. We don't give a fuck if he's black, brown, anywhere in between. Like what he's doing right now is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And if you are a racist piece of shit and you don't like him because of where he came from and the fact that he needs an interpreter, we don't really want you in the baseball community anyway.
Yeah.
Because we play with different people from all over the country, world, different regions.
Yeah, it's a world
Like,
sport now. Like the little league, if you look at the little league World Series, like it's literally the world. Kids come from freaking Australia, Asia, Latin America, freaking the Caribbean, like fuck even the Pacific Islands, like all over. Baseball is a world played sport.
you
So
know what baseball players care about? If
hitting dingers.
you can hit the ball and you can throw the ball. And that's it. Yeah. And you don't have room to be racist in the game of baseball because you're not going to make it very far because you're going to end up with a teammate who's from a different country, region of the world that looks different than you are. And racism is not a fucking problem in baseball. It hasn't been since fucking Jackie Robinson. Like,
Honestly,
so
I don't
why are
know.
we continuing to bring race in this?
I haven't. I don't. At least from recent memory, I don't remember anything happening in the baseball world that was like a huge, like big racist incident. Not off the top of my head, and I could be wrong, and maybe I am.
No.
Maybe I'm missing something, but I'm pretty sure that in recent memory, the baseball world has been pretty absent of any type of, um, you know, major racist scandals or anything like that. What's up,
Yeah.
Greg?
No, and old McGregor's.
Oh, Gregors. Greg said, I think
Yeah.
having someone who's the face of baseball and able to speak the language of where the MLB is played would be more ideal for the MLB to help grow the game here. But any true baseball fan watches it for his skills and all the language he speaks. That's facts. Yeah. No, I mean, it would be like ideal, but that's, you have an interpreter, so who the fuck cares? At the end of the day, the man can get his
No, and
point. I'm more concerned just like,
I don't even think that's accurate. Like there's there's no ideal like nationality for the face of the league. Like kids watch baseball and they see a guy throwing and a guy hitting and they're like, I want to be like that.
yeah.
Right? Like I had friends growing up who wanted to be like Mark McGuire and they were as Hispanic as they came. They didn't choose Sammy Sosa because they had like the same skin color or whatever, or they looked more like him. They just saw the person playing the game. When I was growing up, I wanted to be like fucking Michael Jordan. I want to be like Kobe Bryant. It never crossed my mind that like, oh, I'm white and I don't look like Kobe, so I can't shoot like Kobe. Like kids don't think like that. And if you
Yeah.
want to grow the game, it doesn't fucking matter what they look like. All they want to see is someone performing at a high level.
Yeah.
The only person that it's going to be ideal for to have a white person in there versus another nationality is for fucking Chuck in the middle of the country who's sitting on a couch, thinking, "Oh, God damn it, we got all these foreigners on the TV, and I want to watch baseball, the white man sport," and we don't fucking care about that person anyway. So let
This
them
is
go.
true.
We don't need that person in our game. Like, let them go. Let them watch NASCAR or whatever the fuck else they want to watch. But
Yeah,
in
and
the
be pissed
baseball
that.
community, I just don't think.
Yeah, I think
I just don't think
honestly,
it's an issue.
yeah. I mean, and granted, like I'm not as deep into baseball as like perhaps like you or anybody else is because I didn't play it growing up. I still enjoy watching the game, but uh, I can definitely see like where you're coming from on that point. Where at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the skill level and kids trying to emulate that skill level because that's where they want to be one day.
Yeah,
Greg said the game's
that's what it comes
yeah.
down to.
Greg saying that the game is played in a country where everyone speaks English. If you look at the TV ratings, most people watching are in U.S. I'm not saying it's bad he doesn't speak it, but it would benefit the MLB more if he did to get more involved with the majority of these fans. Um, Greg, I'm gonna disagree with you on your first point on that, and say that not everyone here speaks English, and if I remember some statistics or something I saw not long ago, English is not like it's still the predominant language of the U.S., but not by a very big margin anymore. Um, Spanish and a couple of the other languages are creeping up there to where we're not a predominantly like English speaking country for the most part anymore. Um, I get what you're saying though with the TV ratings and that kind of stuff. Most people watching U.S. Um, Perhaps it would, or perhaps the MLB just full on embraces the fact that this dude that it doesn't matter if he speaks English or not, and if people don't like it, then basically fuck him. We don't need him anyway. Um, or if it's too hard to read subtitles, then like who cares? Like I don't know.
Yeah, again, I've spoken my piece on this, and I don't think it matters whether he speaks English. Like, I get the sentiment of
Yeah,
saying like the ratings might potentially be higher if he spoke English or whatever. And maybe like, again, if we were making an argument like run of the mill, like if he was just a really good left fielder and there was five other left fielders that you could make the case were just as good or equal caliber, like okay, then maybe you can make the case, like from just solely numbers perspective, leaving morals completely out of the conversation, maybe you could make that case. But in this case, we're seeing a guy pitch at an all-star level and hit at an all-time level. And I don't think anybody gives a fuck what that person looks like, white, black, or indifferent. I just don't think, like, ESPN is business,
yeah,
right? And very clear that they've taken stances on racial issues in the past that are going to drive numbers.
yeah,
Like ESPN wouldn't showcase Shohei Ohtani as much as they did if it wasn't good for ratings.
yeah.
Like ESPN doesn't give a fuck about anything other than ratings and making money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
No,
empirical evidence right there that it really doesn't matter if the guy can speak English.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm not trying to discredit anything you're saying, Greg. Like, I totally get where you're coming from. That, yeah, Fernando was it Tatis?
No,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, good, great baseball player on the cover of the show. But yeah, it would be hard for him to do like an English commercial because it's uh shit. I don't even know where he's actually from, but he doesn't speak great English. Basically, he's of Spanish descent. So I get that
Fernando
point.
Tatis
Yeah, or
Jr.
am I way off? I don't
He
know.
grew up in the no, yeah, he grew up. His his dad was a Major League Baseball player. Fun fact about his dad: he was a Cardinal, and he is one of the few players in history to hit two grand slams in the same inning.
Dang, that would have been a game to watch.
His Yeah, his dad might be of descent from another country, but I was actually just
Junior's
watching an
been here
interview with
long
Fernando
enough.
Tatis Jr. today where he was
Fluent.
where he was being interviewed, and he talks like he's like from Cali or something.
Yeah, see,
Like,
well,
yeah, I mean, he
there goes
has.
my ignorance in the baseball realm of things. Oh, you were saying it would be hard for Otani to be on the cover and do a commercial. Okay, I get you. I get you. Okay, I get what you're saying there, Greg. Okay, yeah, then yeah, but like, there's ways around it for like he doesn't have to talk to whatever. That's just going down a rabbit hole of things that
Yeah,
we've gotten out a little bit
more.
off of from what we're getting at. What we're getting at is Stephen A. is a piece of human garbage and made a blatantly racist comment and is going to receive like no backlash for it. Essentially,
I hope he gets backlash
I hope
for
he
it.
does too because like I hope that Twitter or whoever or somebody just lights him up and goes, "Yo, dude, just because you're a POC doesn't mean you get a free pass to say whatever the fuck you want." Like you're a sports commentator, comment on the
Negative.
like comment and commentate on the sports, and quit. Just to basically pull your head out of your ass and stop saying bullshit like that because you can get away with it. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
pretty much the be all and end all of that whole thing with that fucking guy. And I might, I'm biased anyway because I don't like Stephen A.
Is my internet lagging out for you?
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little laggy.
Okay. I might switch over to my laptop
Either way, it doesn't matter.
because there's a definite delay from when I talk to when you answer, and it's throwing me off a little bit.
All right, do what you need to do. Yeah, I got you. I
You
get you.
can continue. I have
Yeah, no, you're good. No, I get it, and I appreciate it, Greg. I appreciate you playing devil's advocate on that. But I did see a video recently of Otani just like it was when he was playing in Japan, and he blasted one like through the roof of the dome, and they just had no idea what to call it, and they were just like, "Screw it, it's a home run," because my man just blasted it through the roof. Like, what else are you gonna call that? Uh, so yeah, that dude is a stud. And Alex is getting situated. So, which one do you want to cover next? Do you want to do the? Oh, he can't hear me right now. You know what? I think we're gonna. Yeah, we'll do this one. This one's kind of interesting. So, do you guys have winning the Derby, like the Kentucky Derby? I don't know, dude. I don't watch. I don't watch horse racing. Probably whichever one the favorite is. Um, so this one, so we're gonna transition now and get out of uh United States politics and things for a minute. Well, not really out of it because this is probably gonna come back to the U.S. in some way, shape, or form. But
And just one more time, did we say that Stephen A. Smith is a huge piece of shit? Just want to really double down on that one. Then we can.
oh no, yeah, he's a huge piece of garbage. Fuck the home run derby. I don't know why the derby was like the first thing that popped into my head when you said derby. Greg, was the fucking like Kentucky Derby, which I'm pretty sure.
Oh my gosh!
I did not. I got 4 hours of sleep last night. I'm running on fumes.
I apologize for his incompetence. Yes, the home run derby is tonight.
Yeah.
And Trevor Story's going to win.
I'm going to be biased and say Salvi.
Salvi's not even playing in the home run. He's not even hitting in the home run derby.
I thought he was.
Salvador Perez?
I'm pretty sure I saw something like pretty recent that said he was like in the derby. Now I've got to look it up.
Might be in the All-Star game.
He's in the All-Star game for sure, but I thought he was in the derby because my man has been blasting home runs all season.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
I'm looking it up right now.
Trevor Story's going to win. They're in Colorado. The hometown kid has a history of winning home run derbies.
Yeah,
and
Salvador Perez is in the home run derby.
He's in the home run derby?
Yeah,
Look
dude,
at that
he's hit
old man.
like 20 some odd fucking home runs so far this season.
Well, he's not going to win.
I don't know. Well, you never know.
Good for him, though.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be biased because I'm a Royals fan. It's like the hometown team, so. Salvy's a stud. I love Salvy. He's such a nice guy. Anyway,
It's hard to root against, that's for sure.
indeed, he's a really great catcher. All right, so now transitioning to the Caribbean of all places.
The old Caribbean.
The old Caribbean. Well, yeah, no, definitely the Caribbean. So, very recently, Alex can help fact check me on this. I don't know exactly what day it was, but the friggin' Haitian president was assassinated, like within the last week.
It was last Wednesday,
Yeah, so
I want to
like
say.
5-ish days, 5-ish days. Okay, and I didn't hear anything about this until like earlier today, and I was like, what the hell? Why was
Really?
the friggin' yeah? I didn't see anything pop up, and like I usually like browse through the news section on my phone occasionally, but I saw some stuff on it today, and I was like, what the heck? Why is the Haitian president getting assassinated? Right? Okay, so
Dude was sketchy as fuck.
rundown. This dude was corrupt as they friggin' come. All right, my man was in the process of. Okay, I don't want to say my man because dude's not my man. This guy, this guy, this guy was in the process of like trying to get these laws passed that would basically abolish Haiti's like what do they call it? Basically like their Congress / like Parliament or whatever. Like just get rid of that, giving him way more power. And he also was trying to get another one passed that would just give him like sole power over the military. The dude was basically trying to turn Haiti into a dictatorship, kind of like Cuba, which we'll get to later.
He was rewriting their constitution,
Yeah, he was-
basically.
Trying to do a lot of shady shit and make the friggin' and just make Haiti just an awful place. Which I don't want to say Haiti's an awful place now, but they did get hit with that earthquake a few years ago, and that kind of like shit on a lot of their infrastructure and everything. And like 90% of the country lives in poverty, so it's already not a super like well-off place to begin with.
Well, they had that earthquake, and then before they could even recover, they had that huge hurricane.
Oh, true, they did
come
get smacked
through.
by that hurricane that like wrecked Puerto Rico and everything too.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
like, Haiti's
they've
just-
been in disarray for a while.
Haiti's just been on the ropes and constantly taking left and right hooks. Like it's not great. And the freaking president was about to deliver an uppercut to the country that was really just gonna fuck it. And he just got assassinated like last week on like Thursday.
You should find that video of the neighbors recording it, because the video is weird. Like they were claiming to be DEA agents, because apparently the DEA has a pretty strong presence in Haiti, and apparently like the DEA is kind of like, oh, I don't know how you describe it. Like it's not uncommon, and if the DEA is at your door, like you fucking let them in, because they're coming in whether you want them to or not. Like they almost have a higher power than like their local like military, basically.
Wild.
And it's English voices that are speaking. You can hear him saying, this is a DEA enforcement, or this is a DEA raid or operation. And that's basically why they let him in. And then they fucking let him in, and it was just like, brat, 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 brat. Like, it was a mess.
See, and this is off CNN, so this is super great. But we'll see if this this is it. About to get copyrighted, right? Probably.
Police in
There it
Haiti
goes.
claiming taking swift action in response to the assassination of the president Jovenel Moise. Police say they arrested 2 suspects and killed 4 others in connection with the president's death. The Haitian ambassador to the U.S. says all 6 were foreigners. Police have not yet determined their nationalities. It comes as new video posted on social media is said to show security outside of the private residence after the attack. In another audio clip, a person can be heard shouting DEA operation. Listen.
DEA operations, everybody stand down. DEA operations, everybody back up, stand down.
Now, CNN cannot independently confirm the authenticity of the audio or the video. The U.S. State Department denies the attackers were DEA agents. A spokesman calls the claims absolutely false. Now, a state of siege has been declared in Haiti.
All right, so there you go. Now, that dude that was yelling DEA operation sounded like he was from Texas.
I've listened to it a couple times, and at one point in time, I thought it sounded like it was like a black person's voice, and then I listened to it again. I'm like, no, that's a white dude. And then I kind of ended up the same way. I'm like, that sounds like a white dude.
It sounds like a white dude from somewhere in the South.
Well, and the first reports were that they were all speaking Spanish, and it's like, okay, well, that's not true.
Yeah, so far in this, as far as suspects, they have they've got 26 former Colombian soldiers as suspects in the assassination. 23 of them have been arrested, along with 3 Haitians. They're also saying that 5 suspects are still at large, and at least 3 have been killed. So there's it was like a whole ass, it was a big operation. And the one person that they have as a main guy who's like suspect numero uno, his name is Christian Emmanuel Sanon. He's a failed Haitian businessman who lives in Florida. So, and a friend of this guy told, and I'm getting this article off the Associated Press, so this is about as unbiased as you can get, I think. He told the Associated Press that Sanon was approached by people claiming to represent the U.S. state and justice departments who wanted to put Sanon in as president. And the dude was all down for that because Sanon had back in 2013, expressed interest in becoming the president of Haiti because, he was thinking the current president, how do they pronounce his name? Moise? Whatever.
I don't know.
Jovenel Moise or whatever. The original plan was for the dude to be arrested and not killed. And then, Sanon, the failed businessman, said he wouldn't have participated if he knew that the assassination was what was going to happen. So dude gets approached by some sketchy individuals that are like, hey, we know you're trying to be president of Haiti. You've said as much. We can get you there. Are you in? And my man was like, oh yeah, 100%. As long as we're arresting him. And they were like, yep. And so, then it goes from there. It's like, now we've roped in, 26 Colombian soldiers suspected as this as well. Yeah, they apparently found a DEA administration hat, or at least a hat with the logo. Excuse me. 20 boxes of bullets, gun parts, 4 license plates from the Dominican Republic, 2 cars, and correspondence with unidentified people, among other things, in Sanon's house in Haiti. So, dude had a shitload of stuff in his house in Haiti, but was still thinking it's fine. This will just be we'll arrest him and kidnap him type of deal. And this is that, obviously that's not what happened.
This is the guy in Florida that they arrested, had 20 boxes of ammunition and a DEA hat.
Yeah, a hat with the DEA logo, 20 boxes of rounds, 4 license plates and 2 cars in his house in Haiti. So whether or not he was there when it happened or he just let these dudes use his house as a staging area, I'm not entirely sure, but that's a lot of incriminating evidence against that dude as being a major player in the Haitian president's assassination. Haiti's police chief said that Sanon, the failed businessman who they arrested in Florida, was in contact with the CTU Security, and that company apparently recruited the suspects in the killing. they also that the police chief also said that Sanan flew into Haiti in June on a private jet, accompanied by several of the alleged gunmen. Um, One of the other associate or suspects that they have, and this is where it gets like super interesting. It's like more of an inside job than like than something else. Is that let me see where it is. Hold on.
It was definitely a planned operation.
No, it was 100% a planned operation. I'm just trying to figure out.
and
Um,
it's a situation where like the poor get poorer also,
Yeah.
because like the last thing Haiti needs is their president to get assassinated. Like he was kind of a piece of shit. Let's not mix our words here, but it's never a good thing for a president to be assassinated, because that's just going to put the country in more turmoil.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so here
poor
it is.
Haiti, man.
This is the other thing that really throws another like twist in it is that Dimitri Herard, he's the head of general security at Haiti's National Palace, which is where the president lives. Apparently, he flew to Colombia, Ecuador, and Panama in the months prior to the assassination, and Colombian police, are investigating whether or not that guy had any role in recruiting the mercenaries. And so Haitian prosecutors are also seeking to interrogate this dude over the assassination. So there's like a bunch of people involved in this because they're like, the president's not good for our country. He's about to screw us. Let's do something about it.
Well, it's the classic, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Like you want to bring your country up and like get this guy out because he was involved in a lot of drug money also. Like he was I don't know if he was under official like investigation for having ties to cartels and bringing drugs in, and that was like a big way that he supposedly made a lot of money kind of under the table, blah blah blah. But again, you can't just fucking assassinate. Like it's not Russia, right?
Yeah.
You can't just assassinate somebody because you don't like their policy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And apparently as well, in the video that I saw earlier, I think today or yesterday, they arrested 2 Haitian Americans as well that were down there, supposedly contracted down there as interpreters for, and what they were actually down there for, or the story that they gave them, I can't remember, but it seems super plausible. So yeah, this is a whole thing that's happening down in Haiti, and I'm gonna be very interested to see what comes of this after the investigation comes out. America is actually mulling over the idea of sending troops down there to kind of keep things in order.
Yeah, they're like under siege right now, right?
Yeah, they're
Haiti
basically
is?
in like a siege protocol essentially because nobody knows what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to keep some kind of order, but it's not going great.
Nope. Poor Haiti, man.
They're just getting smacked with the 1-2 over and over and over again.
Really can't catch a break down there,
No, and it's insane, but it's just such a weird little like I don't hesitate to call it a conspiracy, but I mean basically it's like it's not a conspiracy theory, but there was because some a buttload of like conspiring that happened in this, and I'm just
Yeah.
interested to see what happens. Like this is kind of like playing out as like some kind of movie.
Well, and I hate to talk about this all the time, but it's like people almost forget like that still happens.
Mhm.
Like, we think of America as being like this very civilized country, but we're not that far removed from those people being like tied to our ancestors, like being primal individuals,
Yeah, well, I
Like-
would say we're not even that far removed from people assassinating other people politically, and it happens.
No.
It just gets covered up very well because there's a lot of money behind it.
Yeah. And to think that we can't ever arrive at a place like that if we're not careful with how much power we give the government and what we stand up for our rights. Like you hear people talking about wanting to rewrite the Constitution, and it's like, well, that's what that motherfucker in Haiti was doing. And he ended up getting assassinated. Like it's America isn't immune to having something like that or ending up in a similar situation to where
Yeah. I
you
mean,
end up
shit,
in like a panic.
it happens in Russia. Like, it is highly suspected that Putin has poisoned or some way or another gotten rid of political rivals.
Nah, dude, that's just a coincidence. That's just bad luck for anybody who goes up against
Yeah,
Putin.
it
They
just
just end up
happens
dead
that,
somehow, some
whoever's
way or
running
another.
against him, some series of unfortunate accidents befell them, and oh no, I guess Putin's the one again. So
It was just like Kim Jong Un's brother in that airport getting that needle stuck in his arm with poison. Like, oh man, what a shame.
what a
That's
shame.
tough. I'm sure he had nothing to do with it. That's
I
just
don't
bad
know.
timing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just some disgruntled citizen, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Super strange.
Bad luck like Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I'm kind of that dude just needs to hang it up. Before we get off on that tangent, though, just a little like puddle jumper down the way in the Caribbean. We make our way over to Cuba, who is in full blown riot right now. The people of Cuba are pissed, and don't let now. Let me say this, chat. Don't let the mainstream media tell you that they're rioting because of COVID. That's not the sole reason that they're rioting. The citizens of Cuba are rioting because they are tired of living under a communist dictatorship. And they finally had enough, and they're over it, and they won out.
I have done zero research on this topic, and they're trying to uprise against the dictatorship.
So they're out in the
government, or what?
streets. They're out in the streets, and a lot of them are, so the riots began in the city of San Antonio de los Baños.
De los Baños? San Antonio de los
it's
Baños?
it's BAN with the little squiggle on top of it. OS. So I'm pretty sure that's Baños.
Yeah, like bathrooms.
Yeah. So San Antonio of the bathrooms.
The
Or
bathrooms of San Antonio.
So
Yes.
that's kind of.
It's probably really like not like bathrooms like we talk about.
It's probably like the
bathrooms,
bathhouses of San
bathing.
Antonio.
Yeah, like probably goes back to, I don't know. I'm just speculating.
It goes back to Conquistador era Spain. Anyways.
Yeah.
So the riots began in the city of San Antonio de los Baños, in the province of Artemis in the west of the country. People were in the streets chanting slogans saying, down with the dictatorship and homeland and life, as opposed to Fidel Castro's original slogan, homeland or death. Calls for protest all over Cuba have appeared on social media as well. Protests took place in parts of Havana, as well as the provincial capitals of Camagüey, Matanzas. I'm probably gonna butcher some of these. Ciego de Avila. No, there's only one L. See, I'm trying to remember very faint memories of Spanish.
The Villa way.
Yeah, and Santiago de Cuba, and so there's protests happening in a bunch of cities, capitals all throughout the country.
Good for them.
And I'm just reading kind of just the anti-government protest like little blurb right here. A group of young people held a sit-down strike in front of the Cuban Institute of Radio and Television, so your government-sanctioned radio and television place. Apparently, that strike ended with verbal conflicts with supporters of the revolution and a number of protesters being detained. And internet connection on the island was cut off at 3 p.m. Sunday. So there's no internet in Cuba right now. International organizations such as Amnesty International or Freedom House have supported the protest and called on the Cuban government to respect the right to peaceful assembly. Okay, so that's going to fall on deaf ears because the Cuban government could give a fuck less. They just want their citizens to sit down, shut up, and stay in line, okay? But, we'll see. United States Department of State has stressed that the right of the Cubans to peaceful demonstrations. U.S. Senator of Cuban origin Marco Rubio said that the protests were prompted by the frustration of Cuban citizens in the face of repression and human rights violations. He is quoted as, this is a tweet from him saying, protests in Cuba aren't simply about shortages. Socialism promises guaranteed food, medicine, and income if you give up your freedom. When, as always, it fails to deliver, you don't get your freedom back. That's why the protesters are chanting Libertad. So here we go. So COVID definitely is playing a part into this, right? So during the pandemic, Cuba, was not well off, right? Medicine shortages, people, getting infected and dropping dead left and right. As of Saturday, Havana has reported the largest number of infections and deaths from COVID. For a third consecutive day, they had almost 7,000 cases and 47 deaths. The majority of the island's under a nighttime curfew right now. And, because
any of this sound familiar to kind of like what is going on over here a little bit about like censorship and restrictions and liberties and freedoms being taken away? Any of that kind of ringing a bell with any of this? So you're telling me that's a bad idea, that people are going to get pissed and eventually rise up and want their freedoms back?
Yeah, because like I've said before, and I've said this before, you can it's real easy to vote socialism in. But to get out of it, you have to fight. You have to fight your way out of it, because socialism will come in real easy, promising, like, this said, everyone gets food, shelter, Medicare, it's going to be great for everyone as long as you don't say anything and just shut up and fall in line. But when people fucking like wake up and realize that, it's not what it seems to be, you've already given your freedoms up, and it's going to be a son of a bitch to try and get them back.
So you're telling me we shouldn't just trust Papa Government, that he has his best interests out for us?
Absolutely not. And this is coming from somebody who works for the goddamn government. Okay, these are again,
not all government institutions are bad. I'm not saying that.
But once again, because this will make its rounds eventually somewhere, these are my opinions and mine alone. These do not represent anything in the Department of Defense or the United States Air Force. Okay, thank you. My opinions alone.
Yes.
But yeah. So, Cuba's had it rough because they've been under a blockade from America for 60 years, right? Nothing really in or out. There's no technology and no products.
Bless you.
Thank you. Other than humanitarian aid coming to Cuba from the United States. And there's a bunch of other sanctions still around as well. And estimated it's cost Cubans over $120 billion in lost revenue because of all of this. But we did it because they want to be stupid. Well, not they, just their government. So one of the leaders, the leader of Cuba, first secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party and president now, Miguel Diaz-Canel, went to San Antonio de los Baños on Sunday, and from there he urged his supporters to take to the streets and prepare for battle. He says, "We will not allow anyone to manipulate our situation. We will not allow anyone to defend a plan that is not Cuban." And to him, Cuban is communist. Being Cuban is being communist. According to this guy, the Cuban leader, the United States has deprived Havana of two main sources of foreign exchange. There's no wire transfers from the United States to Cuba. So if you are Cuban living in the United States, you cannot wire money back to Cuba. And the Washington D.C. has discredited Cuban medical missions that were forced to either leave or reduce their presence in many countries. All that was done in order to under the pretext of the inability of the Cuban communists to provide the people with essential goods to establish a humanitarian intervention. And that quote came from Diaz-Canel himself.
Well, when you shut off internet to the entire island, it's pretty clear that you don't want people organizing against yourself, i.e. censorship, which is why censorship is a horrible idea. Even if you don't agree with that person and what their ideas are, you just can't censor it, because you create an environment such as this to where the only information you receive is the information that the powers that be want you to receive. So once again, not a good idea.
Yeah.
Situation that hits pretty close to home right now in the way of censorship. And again, you have to, you can't create this situation where everybody just has to shut up and fall in line, because the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and then you end up with an uprising.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate truth of anything, communism and socialism. On paper, it looks great, but in practice, it never works.
No, never does.
So he also warned, the Cuban president also warned protesters against mistakes. He said those who support demonstrations in Cuba do not want Cuba to stay in good health. Their principles, their model is a neoliberal model. This is the privatization of medical services and education. Everyone should do their best to save themselves.
Bitch.
My guy, Cuba is not in good health now as it
That's what
stands.
I was just going to say.
And
That's
your
what I was just gonna
education
say.
system is, from what I remember, not super great either. Like, your state-run medical and education services are kind of dog shit, my guy.
For a long time, they wouldn't let people leave Cuba. I don't know if that's still
they had
a thing.
to come across the freaking 90 miles between Cuba and Florida, and the freaking Keys, on a fucking whatever they could float for 90 miles on.
There was a time where baseball players, I forget which one, there was a lottery. There was a literal lottery in Cuba, where you had to win a lottery to where you could leave Cuba because they didn't want people leaving.
Yeah.
And there was a baseball player that was drafted, but the Cuban government was fighting really hard for him to not leave because he wasn't a lottery winner or whatever. And there was a lot of steps taken by the MLB in America, so on and so forth, to actually get him here. But again, what world do we live in where you say, no, you can't leave the country because we need you here? And you're a prisoner of the country at that point.
Yeah, you're a prisoner in your own country because they won't.
You're
let you
North
leave.
Korea is
Yep.
what you are.
Yep. So this is the other interesting thing that I saw in this article, right? So Boris Martinov, he's the head of the Department for International Relations and Russian Foreign Policy of the Moscow State Institute of International Relations. Okay, that's a fucking mouthful. Dude said there is a hybrid war going on in the world and there's a lot of money involved. So according to him, life in Cuba is hard primarily because of the blockade. In connection with ongoing reforms in the field of economy, softening of censorship, new channels have emerged to finance various kinds of opposition forces and sentiments, he said. He also believes that Cubans want to follow the path of China, combining the communist ideology with market economy. He said, but being close to the United States, they're acting cautiously on that. So,
Long story short, Cuba kind of fucking sucks.
yeah, basically, and their government is trying to, I guess, at least put forth that they're, softening up. They're trying to make the economy better. They're not trying to, have such stringent censorship as as what it was when Castro was there. Because if you said one bad thing about Castro and he heard about it, God help you. And they're trying to apparently they're trying to make life better, but it's hard because the U.S. is blockaded them. So he also
We didn't make nothing hard. They made it hard on themselves.
and not they, but their government.
No, exactly.
So-
Not speaking about the people. The people are doing what they should. They should uprise and they should say, this is bullshit. We're not putting up with this anymore. We're not living in this world that you created that you tell us we have to live within anymore.
Yeah.
We're not doing it. So y'all either fix it or we're going to sit here and we're not going anywhere. So fucking fix it. But nobody wants to fix it because people in power don't want to give up power. They want to keep their power. If anything, they want to gain more power. And you don't gain more power by giving up your power to the people.
Right.
Again, is any of this ringing a bell for anybody out there? Does anybody watch this shit kind of like we do and we're like, huh? weird. It's almost like all the things that we're trying to accomplish here that other people are trying to accomplish against, we can see it playing out, and we're like, that don't look so good. That doesn't look very fun over there. So can we just like keep being free and like living in a democratic society? That sounds good to me.
I'd like that.
I don't want to give up any more of my power. Like, I don't want people to be sick either, and I don't want people to, die and be hungry on the streets. But I also don't want to be forced.
I don't want Big Brother to run everything.
No, I don't want, and I sure as hell don't want my country saying, "Sorry, you got to stay here. You can't leave."
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm good on that.
Yeah, I'm good off that, dog.
I'd like to go somewhere else, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm done here now.
So, Martinov also said that according to him, and this is just this guy's opinion, Russia needs to understand that after Cuba, the United States will get to Russia, based off the riots and stuff. Apparently, he's basically saying that the American mindset and way of life is making its way into Cuba, and that's what's helping start the riots. Which this has been happening since the Cubans realized that Fidel wasn't it, and the blockade happened. So he says, one needs to be calm and stubborn. One needs to keep walking the path that we are on and try not to give reasons to anti-government sentiment. At the same time, Russia should always respond harshly to every highly likely accusation that comes from the West. It appears that the West knew about the poisoning of Navalny in advance, as it comes clear from the 2020 OPCW report. I'd have to look into that, what exactly that is. I don't know what off the top of my head that is.
I don't know what any of what you just said means.
So did they organize? He said, did they organize it themselves? If they knew everything in advance, Russia swallowed the bait and started making excuses again. That's what he said. So the first part of that I get. The first part of that, he's saying that Russia needs to like buck up and not, kind of be like Cuba and give concessions to the people. Because it's just going to lead to like anti-government sentiment, and once you get there, then things are going to get worse. So, and he also, so the second part is that Russia needs to respond harshly to every basically accusation that comes out of like the West. So like Europe and the United States to say, hey, stop that, you can't, like, you guys are basically committing human rights violations or whatever. And this guy is saying that Russia needs to squash that.
No, we stay in power by keeping the power.
So yeah, it's a little bit it's a little bit crazy down on the islands.
It's fucking another day on this planet. Another day. I hope we get closer to the aliens landing.
Something, man.
How sick would it be if the aliens just landed in Cuba and were like, see you later, government. Like, guess what? This land is yours now. Fuck the government. You guys go wherever you want. Do whatever you want. Live your lives. Be free.
Be interesting.
Anyway.
To say the least. So yeah. So Haiti's in a turmoil right now because their president got assassinated, and they're trying to fill the power vacuum and figure out why he got assassinated and who fucking did it. And then just down a little way, Cuba's friggin' rocking and rolling because the people are tired of the bullshit.
Yeah.
And they want a good life where they don't have to worry and do whatever the government says and tells them to do without, fear of repercussion. So
completely unrelated. We didn't plan on talking about this. Did you see that a maid at a hotel thwarted a mass shooting at the All-Star game?
No, what the hell?
Yeah, there was a maid that walked into a hotel room and found, like, I want to say it was like 4 bulletproof vests and a whole bunch of rounds of like live ammunition and a bunch of automatic weapons. And she was like, this don't look normal. And like called the authorities, and she literally stopped what was planned to be a mass shooting in Colorado at the All-Star game.
Damn, Colorado can't catch a break either, man. Mass shootings out the ass over there.
Well, I mean, I don't want this to sound like crude or like insensitive, but like talk about shooting fish in a barrel. You got all those people confined to a space out in the open. It could have been a fucking disaster.
Yeah,
shout out to that maid.
Yeah,
that's
thank
fucking.
Yeah, that's thank God
incredible.
she said housekeeping and no one was there, and she was like, "What?"
Bad day to forget to hang that do not disturb sign.
Yeah,
am I
for
right?
real, like super bad day. Like my dude was like, "Who's gonna know? They're not gonna know.
They're not gonna know. Well, they knew.
They're not gonna find out.
And
Who's gonna know?"
now
And
you're a piece of shit that can go to jail.
right, and the maid walked in and was like, "You're not that guy."
Yeah. Now I know. This is not good. This is not a good situation.
That's crazy. Well, good for her. Honestly, good for her for finding that and then going, "Yup, that ain't it."
Mm-hmm.
That's
Calling the authorities.
shit.
Good for her. Where are
Let's
we at?
see.
Has it been like an hour?
Yeah, it's an hour.
Time to ask the chat.
Yeah, chat. While I kind of peruse through here, what else do we got? What else do we have, chat?
I gotta place my bet on the home run derby tonight. I haven't done that yet.
Oh man.
Gotta get my boy Trevor Story locked in. I hope this podcast ages well and I can say that I won money on the All-Star on the home run derby.
Fingers crossed. Oh, Combo's got nothing for us.
Nothing to see here. Well, damn it, Combo. We need you to be more original. Come up with something. Just kidding. You don't have to come
What the
up
fuck?
with
This
anything
is
if you don't
this
want
is
to.
oh, this is interesting. This is as of an hour ago. Biden to promote plan to reduce gun violence. Oh God, I wonder where this is going to be.
Oh, weird. Huh.
This is the first sentence I read out of this article. It says, he said, Biden said, while there's no one-size-fit-all approach, we know there are some things that work. And the first of those that work is stemming the flow of firearms.
I don't necessarily know what that means in practice, but I
So-
find it extremely ironic that Biden's like, we stand with Cuba while he seeks to put into practice a lot of the same exact things that Cuba is fighting against right now, trying to get their civil liberties back.
Yeah. So
Like you're saying what you want
I just
them to hear.
what I hate about the gun talk and the gun reform and blah 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 and all this shit about the Second Amendment and gun violence is that what nobody says or realizes in this country and this country's politics in regards to guns is if you like he wants to do is say, stem the flow of firearms.
What exactly does that mean?
It means it's basically just he's gonna try and make it harder for people to get guns, and he's gonna try and if there's guns being imported, probably like put limits on that or like make it extremely difficult for imported guns to make it their way into the country. I would assume probably also it means that he's gonna try and put limits on the amount of guns that manufacturers can put out, like per year or something like that. But maybe they do realize this. And they just choose to ignore it, or maybe they just got their heads so far up their asses that they just don't know. But if you stem the flow or make it super hard for law-abiding citizens, which the majority of the country is when it comes to gun ownership, it's my one little bit of hope that I hold on to, I guess, as far as gun owners are concerned. You make it hard, the law-abiding citizens that own guns you're gonna hurt them in the long run because they're not gonna be able to get purchase guns. People that do the right thing and do what they're supposed to with guns. What you're not going to do is stem the flow to criminals or bad guys or whoever wants a gun, because there's always a workaround to whatever law or thing is put in place in regards to like firearms, drugs, alcohol. Remember prohibition? Like they just choose to not address that part. It's like we're gonna to limit gun violence, we're gonna make sure that there are less guns available to purchase. Cool. All right, that's a terrible idea, but run with it. And then what happens? A mass shooting happens. Or they're like, what? How did this happen? We limited the flow of guns. There shouldn't have been any way this person got a gun. It's like, bro, y'all stupid, right? Like, there's people called arms dealers and arms smugglers for a reason. There's always a way to get a hold of something if you want it bad enough. And then, if you continue to keep doing this, what you're going to do is you're going to force the law abiding citizens that do what they're supposed to with their guns to become criminals. They're either somebody's going to get desperate enough or whatever, or pissed off enough, and they're going to go the crime route and acquire their guns that way. Or you're going to make them criminals because they're not giving up their guns when you want them to. Because they're like, no, I purchased these legally and own them and operate them in legal means by the statutes put forth in the Second Amendment. So, no, you're not going to take my guns. But now that person's a criminal because they're not kowtowing down to the government. It's just fucking asinine.
I have a lot.
And they just, they just want to keep saying these keywords and these little hot button things to try and stir up the people that support them to be like, yes, look what he's doing. He's doing such a great job. He's gonna stem the flow of guns, blah 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 blah. And then, God forbid that same person gets into a situation where it would have been good to have a law-abiding, gun-toting citizen there to stop something. But now there's none of those.
Where's the best place if we were mass shooters and we were planning a mass shooting? Where would be the best place for us to go and harm as many individuals as possible in a very short amount of time?
Somewhere where guns aren't allowed.
Gun-free zone. That's why statistically mass shootings happen at a higher rate in gun-free zones. Maybe I shouldn't say that's why. I'm just saying there are shootings that happen in quote unquote gun-free zones
more often than not
where
perpetrated
you
in gun-free zones.
Didn't stop the bad guy with the gun, because the bad guy's gonna find the gun somewhere.
And he's not gonna walk into a place that says gun-free zone and be, damn it, can't go in here to do the crime that I want to do. He's gonna go, sick, no one in here is gonna have a means to stop me.
And it's ironic that we talk about ending the war on drugs because it's not working, because people find the drugs anyway in these drug-free zones or drug-free states, what have you. But when you turn around and you talk about an issue of similar caliber, and now we're talking about drugs versus guns, so it's different, and I understand that. But in the same breath, guns aren't gonna go away. In the Prohibition era, guns got bought out of the back of trunks all the times by people who were running illegal booze.
Mm-hmm.
And the booze was illegal, but it didn't stop people from selling it or buying it.
And then they needed a means of a way to protect themselves while they were running the booze.
Exactly. So it's infuriating to me sometimes, these conversations that are had, and it's so visibly political to just say the right things or to target the right voter base, and it really has no one's best interest at heart. It's just another way to get voters or to keep the quote unquote promises made or whatever the political agenda is. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, and
I just don't get it.
And Biden's doing a really great job of being a politician and tiptoeing along this line of being hard on crime, but also telling police departments to beef up. Basically, he's telling
So you're telling me the guy who's been in some sort of government
is really out here expertly navigating that tightrope.
Fucking, what is it? 64 years or something, or 48 years? I don't even know.
Yeah. He's
just doing a good job of being a politician and really not making anything happen.
He's out here saying we need to stop gun violence and we need to be, we need to do what we need to do and get rid of guns and stuff. Meanwhile, the majority of his party is out here telling him defund the police, and he's turning around and going, no, police draw on these $350 billion worth of funds in my $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package that's for law enforcement. Use that money. And then on the other side, Republicans are being like, you're soft on crime because he's not, he never was as a candidate, he declined to embrace calls to defund police departments. And he's calling for more investment in enforcement agencies and just giving them more money. So yeah, it's like this dude is just expertly tightrope walking all of these things, and his, like we said earlier, his catchphrase right now is like, "Oh, it's been 100 days. It's only been 100 days."
It's only been 100 days, man. You
We're
gotta give
well
me
past
time.
that point.
You gotta give me time. You gotta give me time, man. Bitch, you know how long you've been in the government? You were the vice president, and you couldn't figure it out then. Like, you've had your time. Rise of the third party. It's got to happen. Vote for Spike Cohen.
Yeah. So it's just, it's craziness. It's craziness. But anyway, that's pretty much all we got for this week, you guys.
Yeah, and like Combo said, R.I.P. to Britain. It's never coming home. That was a real shame. I was really hoping they would win
Yeah, I was kind of hoping England to win that one too.
the Europa League Championship.
Yeah.
PKs.
Did well, went up 1-0 like within 2 minutes, and then just decided it was a good time to coast, I guess. Or Italy was like, no, we're not going down without a fight, and then penalty kicks, man. Penalty kicks are a bitch. Lot of adrenaline, lot of emotions.
The old motherland can take an L though. Fuck them. Just kidding. I wanted England to win, but
yeah. Anyways, that's gonna
about time to watch the home run derby, brother.
Yeah, something like that.
I also got to pee really bad.
All right, that's gonna do it for us this week before Alex fucking explodes all over the place.
I don't want to pee my pants.
Next week, I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna plan for Sunday again, but maybe more than likely Monday. I don't know. We'll see. Sunday or Monday. That's our days now. I'm just calling it now. If it doesn't happen Sunday, it's gonna happen Monday.
I think I should be good for Sunday next week. Granted that I have power back on. Fingers crossed. I'll be even more grumpy and tired.
Hope for Sunday, plan for Monday.
Who knows?
We'll
be back.
We'll be back. We'll be back next week at some point. Anyway, until then, you guys have a safe week. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Continue to seek the truth in all of the things that come out, and make sure to always, if something comes up, message us somewhere. If it's something crazy you want us to talk about, hit us up early enough in the week so we can get some research done on it and come here and provide an informed opinion. Anyway, other than that, you guys have a great night and a great rest of your week, and we will see you later. All right, peace.
Bye.